Point of
You got the floor.
Do I have the floor? Do I?
Yes, you do.
Hey y'all, and welcome back to another video. I'm Mooka, and if you are new here, we took out. I'm fucking with y'all. Let me stop. Anyway, what's going on, everybody? I'm Mooka, and if you are new here, what took you so long to click on one of my videos? Today, we are taking a look at, finally, after like how long? Like 2 weeks of the family that I'm going to be using for my basically the part 2 of the Hoya Hearts townhomes. It's been a long time coming. I don't know why, but this family took me 4 days. Why it took me 4 days? I don't know why. But it took me 4 days to do. I think it's because I was trying so hard to figure out how I wanted to implement their story. Because it's not necessarily heavy, but you know, anytime when I make a sim, I always have to make sure that I have some type of intricate story that goes along with it. You know what I mean? That's just how I am. So the family that we're taking a look at is the Jones / Remington family, and they are from the Riverview world that you get when you first, well, not necessarily first buy, but when you buy The Sims 3, you can download Riverview from the Sims 3 store. And the Jones family is in there, and then she is basically a Remington. And basically the Remingtons, they have like this whole intricate story of where basically everybody died, and Hannah is like the lone survivor. Like her mom, I think her mom died of like drowning or something, or starvation, or like her aunt was the one who died of starvation. Her uncle died of electrocution. Then her 2 cousins, one died in a fire and the other one died of drowning. It's a whole thing. But in this save file, right, in the Forever and a Day save file, because I wanted to go with the story of I guess you could say like I was trying to follow into the whole different timeline situation. So with this timeline, her, Cody, and Kirsten are the ones who are the lone survivors of the Remington family. And then, you know, basically the other families have passed on, but we'll talk about that in a second. First, we're going to talk about Hannah. So with Hannah, I was trying to figure out how I wanted her to be. I feel like I've been going a lot with the very muted tones, the very earthy tones, you know what I mean? I've been doing that a lot lately, and I need to switch it up, but it did kind of make sense to go for her, just by how she looks, and then also with her hair color. If y'all look up what she's supposed to look like, she's supposed to have like, it says light brown hair, but it looks more blonde in The Sims 4, but this hair color that she has, I guess it's like a light brown, darker, not necessarily darker brown, but it's like a dark light brown or whatever. I don't know the terms of hair. I don't know, okay? But for some reason she just looks really good. I guess it's with her face shape or whatever. I don't know what it is, but her skin tone just looks really, really good with this hair color. With the other hair color, she was reminding me a lot of Holly Alto, and everybody knows who Holly Alto is. And I was like, oh my god, I should have used this face that I created for Holly Alto. But we gonna worry about Holly Alto at some other point, and we'll get a good a good face structure with her. But for some reason, she was reminding me a lot of Holly Alto. But we talking about Hannah Jones. We ain't talking about Holly Alto. But anyway, so with Hannah is still technically a recently married wife to her husband, Aiden Jones. And the whole story that I had was they had, you know, obviously still inherited the house, the Remington household manor. And basically what ended up happening, after the fire, it basically burned everything out, so they had to move. And originally what was going to happen when it came to Cody and Kirsten, they were going to be put into foster care, which Hannah really did not care about. How I'm seeing it is that with this family, they don't really care about each other. That's how I was getting it. But again, I'll go into that when it's time to show off Cody. But I was seeing it that, like, with Hannah does want to have her family, but she wants to have her own family. She's not really concerned about her cousins or her aunt. She's very cordial. You get what I'm saying? She's cordial with her family, but she was pretty close with her mom, and that was basically about it. That's as far as it went when it comes to family ties that she had. And Aiden was the one that was like, look, like, we're already, you know, we're newlyweds, and we're planning to have our own child. Hopefully it's a boy, because, you know, the things that she has in her inventory in The Sims 3 is like, she basically, it indicates that they're getting ready to have a child and they want a boy. So they're like, you know, Aiden's like, you know, this would be a perfect opportunity for us to, we could get experience from how it is to raise a teenager and a child. And originally she's like, why should we? Like, I don't know these fools. Like, I don't know these heifers, you know what I mean? But he ended up convincing her, and now they have moved them into their new townhome that was supposed to be their family home, basically them starting over. But it's whatever, you know. Hannah's not, I wouldn't necessarily say she's not very proud of that decision, but she, you know, she felt like it was kind of, from what Aiden was saying, it's the right thing to do, right? And so now she's trying to figure out how she's going to get along with these kids that she does not know. You know what I mean? Like I said, her relationship, as far when it came to her family, went as her mother. She didn't really care about, like, she knew about them. They probably all lived in the same house, but they all were very, very separate, very different. They didn't really interact with each other. You know, they were around each other. The best that it was like, hey, how you doing? Oh, you good? Okay, bye. That's as best as it went, right? And this is me showing, like, the rest of the outfits and stuff. You could kind of get a feel of her personality a little bit and stuff like that. She is straight. I was trying to figure out her walking style. It wasn't working out too well. I just think I just ended up having her a normal walk style. She is family oriented, and it is very interesting because she is a very family oriented, but like I said, she's more family oriented for herself, her husband, and her future children. She doesn't really care about the rest of the family, even though she's good. But I do feel kind of, though, that when it came to this family, that the traits were kind of randomized, because with Cody had the traits of, like, materialistic, snob, but then also good. For some reason, they always keep giving the Sims in The Sims 3 the good trait. I don't know why. But I don't know, but from how I'm seeing it, Cody and Hannah do have a lot more in common than they really think that they do, but they just kind of, like, stay in their own world. When it comes to Cody is he's a snobby teenager. But before I get into that, so basically how I created him, because I basically already kind of created his face. So what I did was I recreated Hannah's mother, then I recreated her brother, then I created his wife, and then I had them, you know, blend and make Cody and Kirsten, and that's how I did it. So eventually, whenever I feel like it, I will probably go in and kill off the other three, but for right now we ain't doing that. But anyway, so with Cody was very interesting because, like I said, he had the good trait, but he was also a snob and materialistic. So it did take me a minute to figure out how I wanted it to go. And also, this is another thing as well with him. He was a Sim that died by burning, so I wanted to kind of represent that. And I know we don't have, like, burn stuff in the game. I was doing so much research when it came to, like, looking at, like, the type of burn like victims and, like, what burn marks look like long term and stuff like that. So what I had decided to do was use the birthmarks, and I basically kind of make it seem like he had a burn all on his side because he was basically the last one to come out of the fire. And I know you can't really do too much with that, what we have in the game, but I did work with what I have, and I do kind of hope I represented it a little bit. I know that it's not perfect, but it will do. It will tell the story that it needs to. You get what I'm saying? So like I was saying with Cody, I tried to go for what he looked like originally in the game. When it came to Hannah, I did try to do that. It was a little iffy when it came to her style. I did wanted her to go for, like, the very traditional wife kind of in a way, but still kind of having her own personality where, like, you know, she doesn't want anything above her knees, you know, and I try to replicate that. So, like, when you can see with the skirt, like, she had a much longer skirt or, like, a little bit of a longer dress or whatever. She doesn't want anything up too high, you know what I mean? But anyway, back to Cody. We ain't talking about Hannah no more. So with Cody, from The Sims 3, from what I had learned, Cody and Kirsten do not really know each other too well. Some people believe that Kirsten was born first, but then she had an accident. Like, you know, she got basically into a car accident with her mom. She ended up dying. Her mom ended up surviving. They ended up having another kid, or like, you know, he was a baby or whatever whenever it happens. That's why he doesn't know her too well. But how I played it off, like I said, was that, you know, the family just doesn't really care about each other. They're more like kind of very much in their own worlds. But when it comes to Cody is very snobbish, not so much I mean, still in a materialistic way, but more so kind of like, I'm better than you. I know I'm better than you because I know how to get X, Y, and Z done. He would be the type of person that never really asks for help unless he needs to. But he will judge you while, like, you know, if asking you for help. Like, he would be the type of person like, oh, can you help me do this, like, real quick? But then he'll judge you while you're doing the said thing and basically saying that you're doing it wrong. That's how I see who Cody is. He's like, you know what? You're doing it wrong. You're doing it incorrectly. Let me do it. Let me take over. And I feel like that's kind of like how it is with his relationship with Kirsten, where the reason why they don't know each other too well, because he's just, he feels that when he was younger, right, he was very, very advanced for his age, but then compared to Kirsten is like, you know, she's probably not as advanced. I think she likes music or something. She's very forgettable, which sounds very harsh. But that's just how it is. I can't remember any of like Kirsten's traits because she is a child, but it's a whole thing. But anyway, we're gonna get to her in a second. But like I said, when it comes to with Cody and Hannah, I feel like they do have a lot in common, especially when it comes to like having more cerebral conversations or listening more to cerebral Sims. Not really much like, quote unquote, I guess you could say, not really like fun people, you know. They're not going to be out here dancing in the streets, you know, randomly or whatever. They would much rather have like a sit down cup of coffee or cup of tea, you know what I mean, and have conversations about world problems, or like, you know, what's going on with the Pancakes family. You get what I'm saying? Like, basically being kind of judgy towards people, but not really. But yeah, that's how I see it. Cody kind of does give me off Capricorn vibes, and I don't know what his sign is, but he does kind of give me like Capricorn vibes for some reason. But yeah, so I did end up making him, I believe, please don't come for me, because I had it in my head. I'm still trying when it comes to the different sexualities, and it can get confusing sometimes, but I believe I made Cody aromantic. I think that's what it is. Some people are saying that he's like, some people called it asexual, but I don't think that's the correct thing. But basically, he's not attracted to people, and he doesn't want to, you know, be physical with anybody. He doesn't really care about that. That's not something that he cares about. So moving on to Kirsten, like I said, she's a little unforgettable, but the one thing I did do is I made her, I mean, like, you can't really do that, I don't think, in The Sims. I think you could do it with like lifestyles or fears or whatever. I am going to try to see if I could give her the scared of water, because again, in her other life, her other timeline, she died from drowning. So in this one, I did give her a scar, I believe, on her chin, I think it was. I don't think it was on her forehead. I can't remember. I know I did give her a scar. I did also make her deaf in one ear, I believe, or in both ears. I can't remember. Like I said, she's very forgettable. But so I believe I did make her deaf, and because I was a little concerned. And again, like I said, I did so much research when it came to like people who either burned or who had drowned and stuff like that, so that way I can tell the story properly. And it's very rare when it happens, but people who do like almost suffocate from drowning can lose hearing and stuff like that in their ear. And basically how I see it is that whenever what happened with the car crash, I'm taking it as with the car crash, right, the loud bang is what caused her to lose her hearing, right? So that's how I see it. I should have said this in the beginning. Trigger warning. I'm sorry, trigger warning. This is late as hell. Trigger warning. But anyway, so yeah, she was a bookworm, and I believe she did also like music. Like I said, no, I didn't say that. My brain is thinking it. But for some reason, the Sims 3 has this issue. Well, not issue, but like the Sims team has this thing where they create Sims that have red hair, and sometimes they have green eyes, and their favorite colors usually are always Irish green. And I'm like, is that a little racist? But we ain't gonna talk about it. Oh yeah, I was also redoing his. Okay, we're moving on to Aiden. We just oh yeah, that's another thing I forgot to show. Both Aiden and Kirsten's outfits, so it is going to be shown towards the end, because I did go back and I did show what their outfits were and stuff like that. Let me know what y'all think about that, because I feel like if I showed every single thing, because I'd just be taking forever just to pick outfits and eye colors, all that stuff. So I did it like that, where you can still see what their outfits are, but you won't have to go through that whole process of me like taking 1,000 years to pick stuff. So let me know what y'all think about that, if y'all like that. So with Aiden is I see him as like, he's super nice. Because I think in The Sims 3, from how it is, I wouldn't necessarily say he was mean, but he didn't give off like, oh, I will take the skin off my back and help you type situation. Is that the term? I don't know. I think that's how it goes, but you know what I mean? Like, that's what it seemed like in The Sims 3, but in The Sims 4, I kind of gave him more of like, I wanted him to have this more nicer appeal, because like I said, he was the one who basically made the suggestion of like, hey, we should take this family in. We're already planning, we're newlyweds, this is a perfect opportunity for us to see if we can really handle being parents, and Hannah, again, she doesn't have any type of connection with these children, so she's, she thinks she's listening to what her husband is saying, because her husband basically never really steered her wrong. That's how I see it. Her husband never really steered her wrong, so she's going with the flow with him. It took me forever to figure out how to get his face a little bit. I was struggling quite a bit with his face, because it was just oh my god, it is so intricate and detailed, but I ended up figuring it out. And I think the family ended up coming out really good. They came out really good. I'm actually really proud of it. One thing I will say though, and I don't want this to take anybody to take this the wrong way, I do struggle when it comes to color matching people with light skin for some reason. Like when it came to Hannah's skin tone, it took me forever to try to figure out her proper skin tone, and I think I ended up cutting that out because it just took me forever. For some reason, I just couldn't get the right match, and I think I ended up doing it, but again, it was a lot. I don't know why it takes me forever when it comes to like lighter skin tones. It's a little difficult for me to match, but when it comes to like a little bit more deeper skin tones and much darker skin tones, I have basically kind of like no issues with it. But I don't know, that's a whole nother thing. I'm improving. Y'all can see my improvement I'm not gonna lie, because compared to when I first was working on the save file, the Sims that I created, I don't know what outfits I was doing. I'm slowly going through and changing a lot of their outfits, because some of the outfits I picked were just really ridiculous. So with Aiden, I wanted them to still show that they were kind of like a family that was well off still, but they kind of like, they're still not struggling in terms of money wise, but they're not rich like how they used to. But I still wanted to give off that vibe, since they basically lost everything in the fire. So yeah, that's basically it. I mean, like, it's kind of almost over. I'm about to show y'all everything. I think I am just giving him his rings and stuff like that, and his personalities and stuff. And I think that's about it. I kind of ran out of stuff to talk about for the first time in how long? Oh my god. Crazy. But I'm gonna leave it here. Y'all gonna be able to see Kirsten's outfits and Aiden's outfits in a little bit. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out when I post any new like gameplay video, CAS videos like this one, building videos, any other gaming related videos. Thank y'all so much for watching. I love you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.